So let's just review quickly our mole to mole conversion using a balanced chemical equation. And let's go ahead with all right, so let's do two problems. All right, so if 0.75 moles of aluminum reacts, calculate the moles of H2 produced. All right. So I am starting with 0.75 moles of aluminum. Right, and I want to calculate moles of H2. Right, so whatever I'm starting with will go on the bottom of my mole ratio, and whatever I'm trying to calculate will go on the top of my mole ratio. Where do I get my numbers? From the equation, right? So my coefficient for H2 is 3, and my coefficient for aluminum is 2. Somehow I always end up with those same numbers. 0.75 times 3 divided by 2. Right? 2 sig figs to start with, so I'm going to round to 2 sig figs, and I get 1.1 moles of H2. All right. Now, this might seem pretty easy, right? Going from moles to moles, just using the mole ratio. But when we're in the lab, do we ever measure moles? What do we measure? Grams. So we kind of have to further complicate this to make it a little more realistic. So let's call this gram to gram stoichiometry. Okay, so going from grams to grams is a 3-step process. And this is where we combine what we learned from the mole map, right? What you guys did on your quiz, and what we just learned with our mole ratios. So anytime we go from substance A to substance B, right, we have to use the mole ratio. So you have to get these substances in moles in order to convert between them. Okay, so this, you would have to use the mole ratio. It's the only way to convert from one substance to another substance in chemistry. Right? But depending on what we're given to start with, which is usually grams, so how do we go from grams to moles? What do we need to go from grams to moles? It's something on your mole map. What did you say, Erin? Molar mass, yeah. So molar mass, right? And then to get to grams of B, we need the molar mass of substance B. All right, so this is the usual three-step conversion, but if you remember from the mole map, right, we can start with liters or particles. Oops. But if you notice, the only way to get from A to B is to bring in that mole ratio, okay? So let's use that equation that we just used for the mole to mole conversion, and let's turn it into a gram to gram conversion. So what did we have? Al plus HCl is what? 2, 6, AlCl3, 3H. All right, so if 2.5 grams of aluminum reacts, calculate the mass of AlCl3 produced. So let's label our substances. Substance A in this case would be the substance that we're starting with. Which one is that? Aluminum. And substance B is aluminum chloride. Okay, so step 1 will be to get our 2.5 grams of aluminum to moles. So 1 mole Al over its molar mass It's 27, right? Okay, so that's step 1. And you can break this apart and calculate each step separately, but I'm going to show you how to just put it all in one line. All right, step 2 now is the mole ratio, right? And what substance needs to be on top of the mole ratio? Which one am I trying to get to? Well, can't get to grams until I get to moles of the substance that I'm trying to get to. All right, so right here I've gotten to moles of aluminum. And what's my next step? Sid?
Would you put AlCl3 on top?
Yep. And Al on the bottom, right? Because I want to cancel Al. And then what are the numbers for my mole ratio? Two and two? Okay. All right. So that gets me to moles of AlCl3, right? And then what's my last step?
Why was it 2?
Because if we want the mole ratio of AlCl3 over moles of Al, we have to use the coefficients from the equation that go with both of those substances. All right, so we need the molar mass now of AlCl3. So we have 27 plus 3 times 35.5. And I get 133.5 grams per mole. Right, I can cancel those 2's. So I get 2.5 times 133.5 divided by 27. Round to 3 sig figs. 12.4. 12.3, 12.4. All right, so follow that little roadmap that I gave you, going from grams to moles of A to moles of B, and then moles of B to grams of B. So follow that little roadmap. But let's do one more together. All right, so tell me what substance A is in this case. What are we starting with? HCl is what we're trying to get to. So H2 is A, and then HCl is B. That's good. And this is B. So let's write out our little map of the steps. So we're starting with grams of H2. And we want to get to moles of H2 to moles HCl to grams HCl. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3 steps. All right, so let's bring down our grams of H2. We have 1.22 grams of H2. What do I need to go from grams to moles? Molar mass. Molar mass of H2 is just 2. Step 2. Moles to moles. Moles of A to moles of B. What do I need? Megan?
Put 6 moles of HCl. Go on the top.
Yep. What on the bottom?
3 moles of H2.
Good. Cancel moles of H2. And then my last step is going from moles of HCl to grams of HCl. And what do I need for that? Molar mass of HCl, which is 36.5 grams per mole. And then just plug it all into the calculator. And I get, so I want 1, 2, 3 sig figs. I get 44.5 grams. Is everyone okay with that? All right, so if you can turn to page 6 in your packet. Okay, it's the gram to gram conversion. You can do numbers 1 through 6.